Welcome back to our real estate channel. Our team has represented over $325 million of real estate contracts for our clients. And today, we're gonna be giving you 10 questions that you're gonna wanna ask when interviewing a real estate broker before you hire them to sell your home.
And we'll give you some inside scoops, some pro tips on the reasoning behind the why you might want to ask these questions.
So before we get started here, there's a link in the description below with all the questions we're going to go through. If you want to follow along or if you want to print that out and use that in hiring a broker next week, you can totally do that. We appreciate you watching, and if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. Question number one that you should ask is, how much experience do you have?
How many years? Are they brand new? Just a couple years? Have been at this 20 or 30 years?
Right.
And if they don't have a lot of experience, are they willing to co-list and bring in a veteran to come alongside?
And there is a difference between years in the industry and the amount of homes sold.
Next thing under experience is how many homes have they sold total in their lifetime and how many in the past year?
Right.
And that brings us to that study. It was from Housing Wire last year. It was 49%. Let's call it half. You want to guess how many homes they sold?
Just tell them.
49%, about half of the real estate brokers surveyed sold 0 or 1. Half the real estate brokers sold 0 or 1. It's shocking. And 70% sold between 0 and 5 homes. 70%, so a large chunk of the universe of real estate brokers. So you want to know how many homes they have experience selling.
Which is still, it's a handful for sure, but it's definitely not, this person isn't doing it full time if they've only done 3 to 5 sales in the year.
Right.
You most definitely are looking for someone that has experience and recent experience.
And then price points. Do they have experience in your approximate price range? The luxury market is much different than, you know, a cookie cutter cul-de-sac, like a medium priced home. Very different jobs.
Yeah, which goes into the fact of how much experience with similar homes compared to yours. So if you have a 40-acre ranch, how much experience do they have selling 40-acre ranches?
Right. And then do they have a niche or a specialty area? Some brokers have a lot more experience with raw land, for instance, or even commercially zoned properties. Not a lot of residential real estates have that experience, but some do. And if they do, are they a member of the Commercial Brokers Association in their area? That would be really important because I've seen residential brokers dabble in commercial, but they're not a member of CBA. And have they lived through different economic scenarios? You know, as we've seen people come into the industry where everything was multiple offers, well, guess what? It wasn't that way, you know, prior to that. There's been some real tough markets.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're going to want a broker who's weathered some storms and has that perseverance, and ask them, what's the most difficult, you know, what are some of their difficult sales that they've had?
Yeah.
That'll give you
Everyone will love to talk about their best success, but let's talk about difficulty and how they get through that. Would be good to figure out experience level.
Oh, the last thing that's kind of fun to ask is, what did they do prior to becoming a real estate broker? The funniest one I ever heard was a gentleman who was a zookeeper in Seattle prior to becoming a real estate broker.
So he didn't change industries?
He actually worked with primates. So.
Yeah, sounds like the same thing. Yeah. Question number 2 is, how will they market your home specifically?
Ask them if they'll do print ads in magazines, because honestly, it's a waste of money. Even when the internet was not, you know, really taking off the way that it is now for everyone who's on the internet, even then print advertising was not very effective. And in fact, it's known as kind of a seller appeasement. There is some target marketing, of course, that is highly effective. The statistic was less than 1% of buyers bought the home because they saw a print ad.
So it's really not that effective.
And then, of course, signage, or, you know, are they planning to put a sign up? Do you want a sign up? Statistic used to be 20% of buyers came from signs. Just the property was brought to someone's attention because they're driving by, or the neighbor. neighbor saw the sign and told their friend, and those kinds of things. So signage, can be important. And what does their sign look like? I've seen some pretty shoddy looking signs.
Yeah, they just throw it up there looking cheap. And so you got to ask just what do they do, but you'll see that in their portfolio of things that they've done. Internet advertising, there is a little bit of it's a double-edged sword. I was thinking about it, and you have people that have been in the industry for 25 years, and maybe they have no idea how to do advertising on the internet. So today, it is important to know, like, how savvy are they with Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all the different methods that the internet can so easily get in front of a lot of potential buyers. And not everyone that's been in the industry for 20 plus years actually has the ability or has pivoted to modern media techniques.
Or even if they're new, maybe they just don't have experience, haven't spent the money, haven't experienced the difference between a boosted post and a paid ad, for instance. Don't know how to maybe target, because this is a specialty to be target marketing using the social media advertising.
Yeah, there are a lot of tools that are available to us now because of technology, but if you don't know how to use them, then the tools are a little bit worthless.
I would ask, do they have a newsletter? How big is their database? How many subscribers, in other words? What's their open rate on their newsletter when they send one out?
Yeah.
Those are all questions I would.
Those are really detailed questions. If you're asking that, your broker might be caught off guard, but it's good things for them to think about. We're definitely thinking about it ourselves.
Open houses. How many are they going to do? Are they going to do brokers opens or public opens? How many? How often? Do they canvass the neighborhood?
Yep.
What's their experience been? How do they do that?
Right.
The other things, like when marketing a home, marketing to other brokers. Like we've found, if you think about it, other real estate brokers might have a database of 200 people or 2,000 people.
Yeah.
So marketing to that one broker, then exponentially, if the broker that you're interviewing has a good database, not just of friends, clients, family members, their own sphere, but also databases of real estate brokers within the area that might be interested in showing the property, you want to be marketing to the brokers as much as to the general public. It's all about getting eyeballs on the property and repetitively.
Yep, exactly.
As well.
9 drips to make a sale.
Yeah, so they might see it in the newsletter, and then they drove by and saw the sign, and then if it's a broker, they got another communication from the listing broker, inviting them to something. They saw it 3, 4, 5 times, and then it'll click. You want to be top of mind, really.
Right. So those are great questions to ask a broker before they list your home, is what they're planning to do with the marketing. Number 3 is, what is the percentage of sellers that they represent as opposed to buyers that they represent?
And you'll find that some brokers lean more toward being a listing broker than a buyer's agent.
Yeah,
I know.
Different skill sets, really.
It really is. Listing broker, they're going to tend to be someone with a lot of sales experience, marketing, advertising, PR. And then buyer's agents tend to be more nurturing, more hospitality oriented. I know when we take buyers out, sometimes I'll pack a lunch for them, but we probably lean more towards being listing brokers. I think our historically our percentage has been 75%, 25%.
Yep. So 75% we represent sellers, 25% we represent buyers. We definitely do both, but you can tell that there's.
And last year might have been more even, 50-50. So it depends on the year and the clients you're working with and referrals and so forth. But typically you're going to have a different skill set with listing brokers than a buyer's agent. I know some brokers are just purely buyer's agents.
Yep.
That's it. They just love showing homes.
Yeah, that is a fun part of the job, no question. And that brings us to question number 4 that you should ask your potential broker, and that is, can you provide references? I mean, let's be honest, everyone goes and looks at reviews. So it's important to ask, okay, who's worked with you and who likes you?
Yeah, do they have testimonials? Are they written testimonials? And then beyond that, besides references, have they ever represented a fellow real estate broker? Because that's an ultimate compliment.
Oh, true, yeah.
really, as a real estate broker, when you're hired by a colleague, they have their pick in our state, 35,000 real estate brokers they could choose from. So have they had other real estate brokers hire them? It's kind of like a lawyer hiring a lawyer, or what doctor does the doctor go to? You know, that kind of thing. I think would be really valuable to know.
It'd be an interesting question.
Another along the same line, have they had referrals from attorneys? Because those are professionals in the trenches. Oftentimes they want to refer their clients to only the best real estate brokers. And so that can be a clue whether this broker you're interviewing is really on their A game.
Yeah. That brings us to question number 5, and that is, how will you price my home?
When you're asking about pricing a home, one thing to listen for would be a broker who's going to price it with the appraisers, the bank appraisers in mind. I know when we do pricing for homes, we go through and give very similar to what a bank appraisal report would be, where you're making adjustments for square footage. You're either adding or subtracting from that market sale. That's using the comparable sales approach. Not just square footage, lot size, amenities, year built. You know, you go down the list of the pertinent items and make those adjustments, and you'll come out with a really good, solid market value of pricing that would make sense for your property.
Especially in the age of, well, AI and all the algorithms that throw things together, like the Zillow's estimate or that kind of thing, it will be telling to hear how quickly your potential real estate broker is willing to turn out a CMA for your property, and if they're even going to go to your property or not. So we find that to do our highest and best, our due diligence is to go to the property and see it and walk around, because that's what a bank appraiser is required to do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we feel it would be unprofessional to give a market value to property we didn't actually lay eyes on. Just like you said, the bank appraisers are required to go and take pictures of the outside and really do the analyzing for the subject property to be going inside. You can't always go inside the comparable sales unless they're pending, and you can get in. But yeah, I mean, those estimates are not accurate. The AI, you have to actually lay eyes on it and do the analysis. And another question is, are they looking at off-market sales? Brokers can tend to be lazy or just inexperienced, and so they need to be pulling up off-market sales as well. And that's all the comparable sales approach. There's also the cost approach. You know, do they look at the cost approach, which a bank appraiser does as well? Looking at the cost approach can work when there's no comps. But we've also seen just going outside the box when there's no comps. And so, do they have experience doing that, and how did they do that? I would ask.
It's always good to just get to know the broker that you're interviewing and seeing what their specialty is, for sure. That brings us to our 6th question that you should be asking your potential real estate broker, and that's, what's your average time on market for listing?
And also, what's their list price to ultimate sales price ratio?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And so that will give you some clues. Now, somebody with a lot of experience selling unusual properties, they're going to be wacko. You know, some properties, you know, might take 2 years to sell, or 3 years to sell.
It's a different ballpark, no question.
Yeah, it depends on the, you know, market conditions, supply, demand, the location. I mean, so much can go into, you know, what can be a loaded question for a listing broker. So hopefully they'll explain all of that. You know, what goes into those statistics, and was a seller wanting to kind of test the market, and then, you know, the listing broker was willing to do that for X amount of time, and that was agreed upon up front.
It's just good to know in general what the average time on market is for your real estate broker and their previous portfolio. All right, that brings us to question number 7, and that's, what happens if my home doesn't sell in the time frame that we agreed upon?
Yeah, what kind of contingency plans, you know, or what tools do they have in their tool belt? And what do they have in their back pocket that they can pull out? And how many times have they really had to go outside the box and the normal things you would do to sell a home? You know, are they willing to do that? And yeah, what's their policy?
Question number 8 that you should definitely bring up with a real estate broker is, what are they doing for communication during the list process and tracking, reporting? Are they keeping you aware of all the activity?
And do you want, let them know, do you want a weekly report? Do you want a monthly report? Do you want a report after every single showing? And do they keep any sort of spreadsheet on what the feedback was from the showings? And do you start to see trends? And are there things you can change?
Right.
Or is it things you can't change? But that's all important data to know when you're in the process of selling your home. And so what is their system? What do they have in place? And then have that conversation.
Question number 9 is, will they pre-screen for financial qualifications prior to showing? So you're asking, are they vetting people? Are they just letting the bum off the street go through your home? Or are they actually allowing people that have shown credentials and they're serious buyers?
So if that's important to you, which it's certainly in the higher end luxury market, you're going to want a broker who has a lot of experience pre-screening for financial qualification.
Yeah.
And there's a way to do that. There's a finesse that you need to use as a listing broker so that you're not making people defensive or angry.
Right.
There's a tactful way to do that and to pre-qualify and make sure that they are financially qualified before, the seller's going to all the trouble to get the house ready to show and leaving and so on. And so how much experience do they have doing that? How do they do that?
If it matters to you.
Yes, exactly. And so, that I think is a really important question.
All right, number 10 is the hot question, is what is your commission rate?
Right, and we see that varies, and if you're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck, the broker's spending a lot of bucks.
Yes.
They're really, it can be very expensive to market properties and do it correctly and really to generate those eyeballs. They're gonna be spending quite a bit of money. So we see commission
everything's
rates.
Negotiable. It's always been negotiable.
Yes.
So that's a negotiation between you and the broker.
Right.
For sure.
So not just on the listing side, but what do they recommend offering a buyer's agent? And then, hopefully they're taking a look at what the market is doing. Again, everything's negotiable.
Yep.
I'm kind of the mind that you get what you pay for.
Yep.
In life,
Totally.
and definitely in the real estate business.
With tools, I'm like, buy once, cry once. Buy the really nice tool, and then you get to use it for the rest of your life. So I think that's kind of can be applied in a lot of ways. You do get what you pay for.
But you want, the best. Your investment, your real estate property, your home is probably one of your largest investments. And so, you want the best person for the job. And so we hope this is helpful.
Yeah, we hope that this helps you when you are prepping to hire a real estate broker to sell your home. And if you found this valuable and you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe and share with anyone that you think may find it valuable as well. We are real estate brokers here in Washington State. We serve in Central Washington, but we actually do work with referrals throughout all of Washington State. If you're thinking of buying or selling, please reach out and we'd love to see if our team would be the right fit for you.